Let's record. And Tamara's at the office and I'm in Tamara's house.
Yay.
Oh, yay. Yeah.
Which is not
I
usually
am super excited for, sorry, Tamara, what was that?
said. My house is not usually as dark as it looks right now.
Oh, I turned lights on behind. Somebody else said that on Tuesday. Was that yesterday?
That's funny. It's fine. If you want to look you look radiant. You are the sunshine in the room.
Disembodied head moving. And here we go. There we go. And then we can just go.
You're like Madame Leota. It's all good.
Oh my gosh. Super excited for today. I love the conversations in WhatsApp about self-care. Our perspective and interaction with self-care evolves tremendously as we move through the different stages of our lives, but not only the different stages, but as we are traversing whatever it is that we're growing through, right? Whatever life circumstances are present for you that are providing that platform for you to grow and evolve into that next level of self. And do you have enough time for us to do my guide to be very sarcastic, to do a meditation?
I have until 11:35,
Okay.
but
So we
that's
have,
okay because I'll just, catch up when I
yeah.
can and then watch
Okay.
the recording.
Okay. Okay. I do want to do a meditation to bring us all present, and the guys were being sarcastic, like, okay, you can do a quick meditation. Uh-huh. So that is what I endeavor to do. What do you guys think? Y'all ready? How you doing, Vicky?
Doing good. I'm glad to be here.
I'm glad you're here too. All right, I'm hearing lots of grounding and presencing. So camera on, off, whatever works for you. And let's begin. Deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth as we ground into this present moment. You are all in a phase of your evolution that is truly transcending that which you expected, and we will acknowledge that it is accelerating at a beautifully rapid rate, and you are all embracing this acceleration with grace and great courage to look in the corners of your lives that you heretofore have not looked at before. And the ability to be vulnerable and courageous with oneself and with each other is acknowledged, and we are consistently working with each of you energetically. There are transmissions and codes that are coming in as Teresa works on you at the various times that she checks in. And we also are working hand in glove with your guides and your teams to ensure that which you need, there is no need, that which you choose in the moment is gracefully embodied. For we recognize that there is much going on in your lives that requires your attention. And thus we work in the background to ease your path. And this reassurance, this affirmation, this information was important for us to deliver, so you know You are always divinely guided, and your support teams and the teams that Teresa has assembled for you are consistently standing with you. And you are never alone. And we thank you and we bless you. Well, that was a lovely message.
Yeah.
So let's ground into the planet and feel how Gaia, our Mother Earth, is receiving all that we are shedding. And what I'm being informed of is that you are not aware of all of that which you are shedding. Your connection with Gaia is important and essential, for she is informed by your learnings, by your growth, by your evolution, and it contributes to hers. This is a symbiotic relationship, for that which you release and transcend and evolve becomes wisdom she can draw from and then release energetically into the environment and allow others to entrain into this energy stream for their own evolution. Your influence, each of you, within your own spheres, as you know, is quite great, but it is much greater than simply within your own spheres. You are all here because you have a soul contract to be a global influence. You hold the power and the choice, for it is free will. And thus we encourage you to take this moment to deepen into your connection with Mother Earth and affirm that there is a triad of a team: Gaia, the energy of Earth, you, and the universe. So feel the connection of the universe as it comes through your crown chakra. The connection of Gaia as it moves into the soles of your feet. And the path this energy traverses is through your vertical tube, moving up and down through your body. We will take this moment to release anything that is stuck or stagnant or ready to be released. Breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth as we facilitate this clearing. Know that you are assisted in this. Mm. Know that you are releasing what is known and what does not need to be known or identified. And we thank Gaia for receiving these transmissions. We move into awareness of our crown chakra. Oh. Which now opens to receive the transmissions and energy codes that support your journey, that are encoded for manifesting that which you intend to bring into your life. Those goals, those self-care rituals that you have identified to expand the power and potency of these tools and these abilities and these awareness. If you wish to transcend to the next layer of the energy strata, say yes in your mind. And allow your teams and Teresa's teams to support you as you receive these transmissions, these encodements. And know that as you do, you are opening doors to all that you intend. And those intentions cultivated from the realms of deep self-awareness and self-care are aligned with your optimal and highest timeline and with your free will. You step ahead quickly and powerfully into that which is meant for you. Know that the alternative timelines that were available will drop away as you move forward with alacrity. It is optimal for all of you in this moment. And yes, we have hijacked Teresa's meditation for the purpose of this work. Open, allow, receive, and know your own powers and abilities. Hold the awareness that the universe, your world, the external world will reflect back to you all that is made available through these open doors. Breathe deeply and know that these encodements will continue to flower and grow within your systems over the next 48 hours. So be gentle with yourselves. And utilize the self-care tools that you have identified that are optimal for you while holding the awareness that they will present the best tools for you in the moment that you tune in. Take 3 deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. And yes, Cindy, you are included in this transmission. Your physical presence is not required. Your energy presence is here with us. And we, the council, take this moment to thank you for your service to the evolution of Earth, of self, and of universe. This is indeed the Holy Trinity. And note that you are the pivot point between the two. You are essential. You are vital. You are needed. And we thank you. And when you're ready, you can gently open your eyes and come into the present moment. So I'm aware that I've bifurcated, and there's a part of me that will, okay, oof, continue to work on the energy. So how are we all doing? I'm spacey as fuck, right?
Same, girl, same.
Yeah, that was so good. And I felt like everything kind of clicked at the very end. And when we were ending, I'm like, no, like I like being right here. Say it isn't so. I don't want to end.
It's like Teresa and her team AMSR.
Oh my God, that's so good. Wow. Oh God. Okay. Um, Sometimes the gratitude and the love that comes through is really overwhelming for the human. Thanks, guys.
Love you, T.
Thanks, So I love the conversations in WhatsApp chat. And I just want to acknowledge that each and every one of you have taken this to the next level. And I want to open the floor to have conversations about where you're taking the self-care, how it's influencing your life, where you're focusing, and anything else you want to share. So let's open the floor.
And do you want to go first? Just because I was just looking at the time. Do you have to leave pretty soon?
Still muted. I think you have to swipe all the
There we
way
go.
to.
Yeah, it's done different things. So, whoo, it's fun. I love to learn. Sorry at your expense. Mine has exploded. Self-care went to taking care of my body and quit eating my emotions and being more physical. And then more manifestation, more meditation, more reading, and more time with friends and doing fun things and actually playing. And with that, I have emotionally cleared a lot of stuff that had been holding me back. And so it's been a tsunami. It's been exhausting, but I'm taking my time to do that, but also to grow and look forward with the things I am going to embark on and do. So the doors are much more open for me with this self-care. So you would think, soothing. Yeah, it's soothing, but holy, it's everywhere. So it's been fun. It's been amazing about changing because I'm doing a whole reboot in my life, if that's a term anymore. And so I look at things differently. And because I don't have all those screens that I had before that were blocking me, or the filters that were blocking what I could see to do and be and more. So it's been amazing. And I wrote in WhatsApp about, being my geeky self and looking at changing our brain and neural pathways. And it's just got to be sort of a symphony going on in each one of us.
Share what you learned, if you would, about the neural pathways and how you're harnessing that for your own self-care and evolution. Because that feels really powerful. I think all of us could learn more.
Well, we all
And
know that we dug in with old habits and beliefs from this life and lives before us. And we carry that in our DNA and in our tissues and with our ancestors. And so these very specific clearings have opened up and healed. It wasn't like it was some sort of a disease. They were just lying there on top, like, sorry, rotten oak leaves on the garden. It's like, so we rake that out, and there are new shoots of life underneath there. And that's what's happening in our brain with neural pathways, is that we're cleaning these out so that they close, and you can shut a door to that. And then you can find other areas in the brain that are opening up with these new beliefs. Like, I am free, I am exquisite, I am powerful, I am love. And you can really feel it and walk it. And with that growth, as we keep working on it through meditation and through just living spiritually, those pathways are going to grow and get deeper so that we can become who we're supposed to be.
How do you identify, or do you identify the beliefs that you're replacing? Because I love myself, I'm exquisite. All that is a replacement belief, right? And
Mm-hmm.
the oak leaves are
Mm-hmm.
the origin.
Mm-hmm.
And do you go in and actually understand what that origin belief is, or you just feel into? Because I've done it both ways. I can feel into, okay, this isn't aligned. I don't need to know what it is because it happened 10 lifetimes ago, but I'm going to apply I am loved, I am loved, I am loved, and which dissipates that
Mm-hmm.
pathway and
Right.
replaces it with some. So do you consciously look at what is the belief I'm replacing, or do you just replace it?
Oh no, I'm clearing out, as you have taught us, what does not serve us, whether we consciously know it or unconsciously know it. So I don't think it's important to go into the diagnosis of it to be able to clear it out and know it's gone, because we're feeling uplifted. When I did your last meditation from the last class, I was done. I wasn't sure if my feet were on the ground. I kept looking. It's just like, wow, this is really awesome. And so, um, it's a feeling, and it's a belief, and it's I know I cleared it out, and I know I have a new pathway because there is a new view of other people, of how I see myself and how I see others. Um, is more of breaking down the emotional barriers and the belief systems that I thought were holding me down, not aware that they were there. And then once I'm starting to manifest and starting to do more meditations and all this self-care work, I find that those things have fallen to the side. And it's like a phoenix.
Thank you.
So don't
For
look
me,
back.
yeah, exactly. For me, when we stay in the cognitive, it's very limited and shallow.
Mm-hmm.
When we can dive into the feelings and actually replace the feelings, that to me, emotion is fuel for the human experience like nothing else.
Oh, absolutely.
It,
Absolutely.
yeah, so I think that distinction is really important, that we allow ourselves the opportunity to say, I don't need to know. I just know what
Right.
I feel. I
Yeah.
trust.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it freaks people out. It's really fun
If-
because they're used to, more words, and it's like, no.
Yeah. Yeah. That goes into the belief that we train people how to treat us, right?
Well, it's very peaceful within to be there. And then when you're peaceful, your brain isn't full of anxiety, and then it starts to work, and then we can think in our minds about what we actually want and how we navigate situations and our future events and what we want. I'm excited. I'm excited to hear
I'm
about
excited for you.
you guys.
Yeah, can anybody identify with this? Or are you in the middle of it? Or, yeah, what are
Okay.
your thoughts, guys?
Huge. I love the whole point of not having to stay so cerebral and get down to the, make my list of all the things I'm letting go. I'm trying to really be present in the moment and acknowledge those feelings, not get stuck there, because boy, can I. And I over analyze it all. And I am just finding the more that I don't do that, the freaking happier I am. And it's easier. And when I do that, it takes care of nurturing my mental and my emotional side that impacts my physical side. So I feel like for me, it's kind of that three-legged stool. And if I would just allow myself to say, I acknowledge you, I'm sending you on your way with love and blessings, and shutting the door of, please don't come back. I'm changing my address because I'm upgrading. So Anne, thank you so much for sharing that. And Teresa, I really appreciated your comments about just not having to know all of the details. I get that corporate head of, again, I got to make my list. I got to make sure I'm not missing anything. And really, who gives a shit? I mean, the reality is if we're willing to just let it go, the space and the peace that is created for all of the other just incredible things to settle in is so heartwarming.
Yeah, I agree. How is Heidi, how's the world responding to this?
Not everybody really likes it because they think I've lost my freaking ass mind of, so I think some of it I'm kind of cocooning and I'm careful, I'm selective about who I'm sharing what with. I'm also realizing that it's helping me on the business corporate side to set better boundaries to keep that minutia shit out of. I am not going to engage at that level of they can have their little mess going on. I don't need to participate. Again, I acknowledge it. And I'm certainly not offensive. I'm just not even engaging in the conversation or the 500 Asana messages and WhatsApp. And I am just like, I don't even send a thumbs up because I'm not thumb upping it. I would like to probably give him a finger about it, but I
They,
am
they do have one of those in the emojis.
yes, used it on occasion. Guilty. So yeah, Teresa, and I thank you for asking that question. What I'm finding, and it makes me just love this group so much, is I don't need the validation from my exterior groups that really don't appreciate my authentic side that I'm really working on. And just being part of this group, like, is my safe place. So even when I'm kind of in the heat of it, you guys, I spend time with you guys mentally and emotionally all the time because I'm like, oh, I'm leaving that at the door. I'm going over here with my girlfriends. So, thank you for that because it has created just such a shift for me. And trust me, this is not easy because I still find myself at times kind of freaking out and, where you're standing on that teeter-totter trying to balance it. I just feel like it's just work in progress. And regardless of where I am on the timeline, I'm just glad that I started and I'm glad I'm doing it.
That's part of the opportunity that presents, right? It's great when we can kind of rewire our own internal systems, but then how do we translate that into the rest of our world? How does that, whether it's personal relationships or business relationships or our own internal thoughts, how do we Because how do we hold on to our sovereignty, our autonomy, and our authority? And anchor it so deeply that we become autonomous. And not in a, sometimes in a fuck you way, but most of the time in a, no, this is where I'm at now. And I appreciate what you're going through or what's happening or how this project is moving forward, but that's not how I play anymore. Because that's a hard part, right? Yeah.
I think that we are, based on Heidi and everyone's comments thus far, I think we are creepily on the same page this month. I chose to spend this month like pausing and reflecting to realign with my own truth. And in the middle of this, got this very new to me menopause thing that, I hit 50, I've gained all this weight, I'm losing confidence. And we learn all of these tricks and let's set sacred geometry around us, or not, let's just get back to basics. And so what I found was that although I have so much intellectual curiosity, and that's so wonderful at times, I've spent this time creating a structure for silence so that my own wisdom can rise. So it's like self-care, dumbed down self-care 101. And let's bring it back to the pen and the paper and the 20 minutes in the morning outside doing a brain dump. I wanted to create containers for clarity. So the 3 things that I chose for that was to structure my time, because I work remotely. Work bleeds into night, bleeds into, there's like no time delineation. Simplify my to-do list. I have Post-its all over the place, so I've chosen to just have one simple list. And then most importantly was give each thought a place to land. So I acknowledge those thoughts. If I need to dig deeper into them, I can. If I need to bless and release, I can. But I don't think that I've given those thoughts, all thoughts, just a place to land. And when they don't land, I think they just flutter amongst us, and it's just noise.
Distraction.
So that was my month. Thanks to you, ladies.
Thanks to you, because you stepped into the opportunity.
Yeah.
And Vicky, I want to reflect on our one-on-one, on our conversation. The amount of courage that you displayed in acknowledging what was available for you and then choosing yourself, that's huge.
Oh no, you're not making me cry again. No, ma'am. Not doing it. Yeah, that was a very powerful moment. And I'll share with the team that I think it's very important for you to hear again, Teresa. Sometimes you don't even have to say anything, just your very presence helps things unfold on our own. And you just help me for sure, just things click. And just you don't have, without you doing anything, just your very presence is very powerful, more than you probably realize. So I'm very grateful.
Thank you. I'm really grateful to be able to be on the journey with you. It changes my life. So know that it's reciprocal.
Well, it's a shit show, so come along. There's room for everybody.
I got my shovel. Oh. Thanks, Vicky.
I can share some of what my self-care has been. It's been so I've like made the intention to focus on emotional because like as we were digging into that, it just felt so new to me. Like I don't think I've ever taken into consideration that like my emotional self is someone that I should get to know and take care of or that even existed. Um, but in that, like what I really wanted was to like, do that inner child work, like really heal like my 6-year-old self. I was like, I want to visit her, I want to invite her along with me. But I feel like the more that I was leaning into that, the more I was being directed away from that, like in a gentle way, not like in a don't do that, but like a not yet. Like that's not where you need to focus right now. You can, but like it's not where you need to. It felt very gentle. Um, and in that, like in my meditation, I was similarly to Vicky, like making room for silence, like not just doing meditations where I have to have some sound or something going on, just literally being in silence and like seeing what comes up and sitting with it. Um, and what I've been calling flow journaling, where I just write random words that are coming to my mind and see what thoughts trail with it, and then go back and look at it and see what's come up, sit with that. But I think what's really been like striking a chord has been sitting with my feelings and really like getting to know anger. Like that was something I talked with Teresa about a lot. Like anger is just, my younger self did not have a good experience with anger. Like it was, I know it can be beautiful and powerful, but that was just not at all how I internalized it, how I still feel it. So kind of understanding how much I fear and like lack of a relationship with these bad emotions is really, disconnecting me from living my full authentic presence in life. And that's just been interesting to even like it last year. I think it took me 3 or 4 months to realize how angry I was with the situation I was in. And I remember telling my friend how angry I was, and she's like, I've been angry for you for so long. Like, I am angry for you. And I was like, wow, I didn't realize that's what I didn't even, couldn't even name the feeling, just like knew it was there. Um, so I think in all of that, it's just been like noticing and releasing when I'm like trying to force myself to do things. And part of that like reflects back on some of the other work we've been doing, just like understanding that moving forward, like I'm using a different kind of fuel, and that's like at every level, like emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually. And like I'm no longer fueled by pressure, I'm learning to be fueled by pleasure. And it's been, and oh my gosh, I got so this is something I was talking to Teresa about because I wasn't sure if it was brain cancer or what was going on. But I'm getting tingles on the top of my head randomly. She told me it's not brain cancer, it is me connecting to my divine feminine. So I just got tingles again.
I love that you went straight to brain cancer. Perfect.
You know, it's in my head. But like, yeah, in the moments, I think like some word or phrase will come up, and it like when it resonates and like it just like I get these like tingles, and it's like, oh, that lands. Like hold on to that, follow that. Uh, yeah. So I've been doing that and like just getting curious with my guides, asking for what I need. If it's a laugh, if it's just like help me figure out what my dogs need. Like um and like just yeah, like not feeling surrounded. At all times, especially doing some of this work can be real hard and just feel real. It can it can feel dark and like enclosed, but also at the same time like not. Does that make sense? Uh, yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
I love everything about that. I love that you're learning what your woodar, your radar is, and how the universe communicates with you when you're on the right track. And it'll evolve and it'll grow and it'll deepen. And that's essential because that's the internal authentic part of ourselves, right? That isn't influenced by all the noise on the outside. And so essential in our evolution. I mean, we can't, one does not exist without the other. And the other thing that I just really appreciate so much, and I want to thank you because I do this naturally all the time, is stillness. Like just cultivating stillness. Because it's so easy to fill your life with noise and doing. Um,
Mm.
it's
Yeah.
the foundation.
And learning that like stillness can be my fuel. Like I think that's something where just, society says like it's bad. It's slow, it's stagnation, it's laziness, but actually like it can be the fuel that gets you to that next level. Like just let yourself be still and receive and yeah, stop piling everything on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Becca, I thought it was interesting that, when you started this month kind of with the intention of visiting your inner child and, you were gently guided along, like maybe that's not what needs to happen right now. And that is exactly the same situation I was in when I, was trying to do all of these things and was guided to just put your pencil to the paper. Like it was the exact same situation.
Mhm.
Very not strange, but strange.
Yeah. Yeah. And then like once you do that, everything just feels a little lighter and you're like, oh, this was a good choice to actually follow
Yes.
these nudges.
Crazy.
I love that.
You think we make it harder for ourselves
Yes.
sometimes?
Oh my God, yes.
Yes.
I think so too. Yeah.
In this stillness, I would love to mention that your worksheets, the business, like really, really good stuff. Obviously, things that you've taught us, but again, it's the pen to paper, the tangible, let me look at this list and what feels right now in this moment. It's very helpful.
Good. I'm glad. I'll continue to share the worksheets now that the workbook is complete in each module. Yeah, the prompts are just evokes a little more for me. When I was writing it, and not when I was writing it, when I was editing it, reviewing it, I just burst into tears because I'm like, this works. Oh my God, yes, I'm doing this right now. I love this. And it was just super powerful.
The tube Taurus has been my go-to. Yeah, really good.
Good.
think this month for me has been really interesting because it has been very busy and intense in sort of the physical and the working world. It's been filled with people and movement and big milestones and all of these things. And in all of that, you talk about like this stillness. What's been really kind of fun in the practice has been being in a place of extreme physical fatigue, which is okay. And being there and maintaining a practice of openness and non-resistance and just showing up. And I've often in my life just practiced showing up and being really present in the moment. I'm very bad at lists. I'm very bad at organization in those particular ways. Like I can't force structure on my being. And in particular in those moments like where everything is coming from every direction. And so this release that in non-attachment allows me to float or to flow through spaces, and in that to still gather um, energy or momentum, or to gather myself, or relationships, or whatever it is that needs to be gathered. Also in that floating and that flowing, practicing release, because non-attachment is really fundamental, I think, in um, just letting the world be what it is and letting myself be who I am. And one of the things that I had written down while someone was talking earlier today was that engagement is entanglement, you know. And so, I mean, just a fundamental of mindfulness practice being observing a thought or observing a feeling, but not actually examining it. Because if you stop and you examine it, you become entangled in it, and it becomes the focus as opposed to the moment, you know. And so yeah, just like living life in a flow state. And what this like the shit I've seen this month has been really cool. It's and the people I've run into, and the times when, maybe if I'd have set a really hard boundary, and this is actually, it kind of runs across my life in a whole bunch of ways. Like, sure, I could drop a hard boundary and be like, bam, this is the end of my energy and I am too tired to move, or this is the end of my commitment and I am too tired to continue, or, like any of those things. I've just been like, nah, just flow. Just gonna keep showing up. Just keep rolling with it. And being present and there is enough. And it just allows the world to go on. And I'm not any more tired than I would have been. And I'm probably feeling better about it, maybe. Or, there's a long weekend coming up. I might just take a nap. I went during my birthday festivities. I went with a friend of mine who's a Quaker to Meeting for Worship. And I'm not sure if you've been to Quaker Meeting for Worship, but it's very cool because it's held in silence, and there is no officiant, and there's nobody who tells you how to worship or who puts forth scripture or does any of those things. It's a group of people who sit in a room, and if you are moved by spirit to speak, then you speak in the room. Otherwise, you can sit for an hour in silence. And so that concept of being moved by spirit is sort of a really interesting guiding principle that I've been working with in every aspect of my life right now. Like, if I am moved by spirit to engage, to speak, to move, I do.
So many juicy nuggets in that, Tamara.
Yep.
Go ahead, Vicki.
Well, yes, lots of juice. Very juicy, like apples running down the side of my face. Juicy. But I have a question on your thoughts on this. 1,000% engagement equals entanglement, but at some point, don't you need to engage to untangle to get to a place of energetic neutrality? Because you can't just avoid, yeah? Like you can't just avoid, and I struggle with this, which
Yeah.
is again so strange that you mentioned it, because I struggle with the cloud in the sky, let it go by, but that damn cloud's going to keep circling and become dark at some point. And maybe I just need to let it release its water so that we can move on from the cloud.
I think that's something that came up while Teresa was asking about whether or not you were like sort of holding something in the entrainment or the neural pathways. Or it wasn't you, it was Anne.
Yeah.
But but just geographically on my screen when she left, you took that space. Spatial organizer.
Middle name's Anne. It's fine. Totally fine.
It works. And so I sometimes yes, I think, and other times no. Like it's okay. Like some problems just get too big and too heady. This is like in nonviolent communication, they talk about how you learn to or we learn to speak before we learn to think, but language shapes our thoughts. And so if we're not careful with our language or we don't learn to use it well, um, or if we're not discerning about it or left unstructured, it structures our thoughts too quickly and we become trapped by our own words. And I think for me anyway, I believe that we get trapped by our own stories as well. And those entanglements are really, they're really tricky, like they have like I don't know whether it's like it's not a gravity, it's more like a seduction, like you find your words or your triggers or your stories or those plot points that you just don't, and it could take so long to let them go, or you can just let them go.
Tamara, I love that. And I'm an overanalyzer. So, Vicky, to your point, I think that, something that I learned, and I want to say it was probably alchemy number 2 for me, was I don't have to have all of the answers I don't have to dissect the thing until like there's no tissue left, right? Because hell knows I will. And that to acknowledge it, Teresa helped me to just acknowledge and release and be okay with not knowing the details. Like to just let it go. I'm not gonna die if I don't have all of the details and being okay with that.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. If it is something that requires our attention at a deeper level, if it does require us to analyze it or name it or identify it, because that's part of the release that is required for that thing, it will come back. By release and replace, which is kind of what Anne was talking about, we begin to evolve and change at the energetic level. And the things that I find that come back are those core issues. Like for me, one of them is safety. do I feel safe? So that what and that's part of getting to know what your core themes for this life are. And typically we have between 1 to 5, typically right around 3, but we have these core issues and they show up in different ways. And the reason they will repeat is because when we entered this human life, we agreed to hold the imprints of the morphogenic fields of this belief system so that we can entrain and layer upon the healing of this core issue for planet and universe to expand into all of humanity. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And there's this piece about, and Tamara, you do this really well, is you don't judge, you observe. And that's a natural part of your expression. You are really great at not labeling and judging, but just observing. And that's that's part of your flow state. Yeah. And even with those core issues, they will diminish tremendously, especially for this group in alchemy at this time. You have moved into such a higher level of power. And as we spoke about in our beginning meditation, you are influencing through your being in assistance to the evolution of planet and universe, which is contributing to all of the humans and allows things to move more quickly. Does that help, Vicki?
It does. It does. I just think about in my younger days, I was the queen of denial. I mean, in fact, I had a kid without even going to the doctor because, I mean, if you don't think about it, it won't come, right? Here he is, 32, and a social security number. But so my experience may be coming from definitely a different perspective and definitely I flowed too much. I think there's a balance of flowing and and having the wisdom to know when to pause, and it's a very tricky situation.
Yeah. It's also discernment. Am
That's
I
the
in
Am I in flow or am I in denial?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. That's actually funny. Back to the quakes for a second. They one of the discernments that they ask that you practice is when you are moved by spirit, are you moved by spirit in a way that spirit is speaking to you, or are you moved by spirit in a way that you are to speak to and address the practice?
Mm.
And so who is spirit speaking to? And it's, I think it's sort of a reflection that's kind of engineered to draw some awareness to folks who want to self-aggrandize and speak and preach, right? But also, it is that question of just examination. Like, No, I know the for me in my flow state right now, like I'm just really tired physically and kind of emotionally, and and I'm like, well, but it's the kind of tired that you know I probably either like just need to completely check out and disengage for a while, you know, like really, I probably need a vacation. But I don't have that latitude right now, so I have to find a way to make it work, you know, and my way of making it work is just to cut all ties because holding things requires energy and strength that I need in other places. So I'm like, oh, and
I
then
like
you can just go, you know. Um, but it's a choice. And I also know that eventually I have to, you know, put my fingers along the sides and slow my roll.
So it's a redirection.
Of the energy? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Into what's regenerative for you in the moment.
Yeah.
Wow. And I love that discernment tomorrow. I think discernment, am I being distracted or in denial, or is this the true flow state that spirit is saying, okay, now just keep following this path? It may not make sense today. It may be overwhelming or create uncertainty or uh, but that's when we step into the trust and say, okay, I've got the tingling, so I'm going to follow that because I know that right now that is what's right for me. And it doesn't have to make sense to anybody but me. And the sense making is the intuitive acuity that we build. Yeah.
I think one of the things that I like to like engage or like just a thought I like to jam on with people a lot with is about trust and whether trust is earned or given. And when we talk about self-trust, that's a really interesting conversation. You know, like, do I have to earn my own trust? Or am I going to give myself trust? Am I just going to trust that I am going to know what is right in this moment? You know, and so it's an interesting just kind of like thought pebble to toy with or to fret sometimes if you're walking somewhere like, oh, trust.
I
Given,
think it's both.
I don't know.
I think I think it's both. And let me wrap context around that. I think we give ourselves trust, but we also earn it. Because the more we give ourselves trust and things unfold in optimal ways, we're now earning our own trust, right? So it's not the either or, it's the balance of, am I earning my trust or am I giving myself trust, or is it symbiotic?
Are we earning it or are we validating it?
Both.
Yeah.
So I think absolutely we're validating it. Are we earning it? What do you guys think?
How about this? How about the less trust you have in yourself, the stronger your external boundaries are?
Oh, say that again.
The less trust you have in yourself, the stronger external boundaries you set.
Hmm.
Because maybe you don't can't trust yourself enough to deal with whatever that trigger is in a meaningful way. I don't know. I just wrote it down. That
Yeah.
just came.
I think for me, the more I trust myself, the more I'm clear on my boundaries. I can set and hold them. I think it's the inverse for me. Yeah.
No, I think we may be saying the same thing.
Same thing.
I think you just are a better articulator. I think the less that I trust myself, the more boundaries I set and I push them. I keep them closer, I guess, right?
More rigid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Whereas when you trust yourself more, you know that you will hold those boundaries.
Yeah. I love that. I agree with that. What do you guys think?
Absolutely.
Mhm. The thought that came up for me was like, is it earned or is it built? Like, I feel like for me, it's like the more that I give myself trust, yeah, I set boundaries, I hold it, I feel like put myself first. Feels like I'm like building a muscle, so I don't have to like think about it. Like it's just, it becomes like that intuition. Like it becomes like it's there and it can like step up and like act when it needs to. Um, yeah. So it feels like the more that I give it to myself, act the way that I say I'm going to for myself, the more the muscle gets stronger.
Yeah.
I love that, Becca.
Yeah.
Yeah. Me too.
So much easier said than done, but but
Totally.
but that does feel true.
It really is a dance, isn't it? We'll get more into this later, but it's this infinity loop of giving, receiving, growing outward, growing inward. That's this symbiotic evolution. And it's the awareness and discernment that fuel it for me.
On a slightly different self-care note, both of my pups have been sick. Watson got pneumonia last Friday, which was scary. All of a sudden, he was just coughing, not breathing well. Took him to the ER. It was pneumonia. He was there for a while, but he came home. And then on Monday, Willow started coughing. Luckily, she currently just is coughing, doesn't have pneumonia. But it's just been like while doing all this self-care, of course, I was texting with Teresa about it, like, it's not happening. And just like that acknowledgement of, Watson is very good at his self-care. When he
Yeah.
needs a snuggle, when he needs space, like he just takes it. When he needs my time, he lets me know. Um, so I feel like I've been just like leaning into that and realizing like right now, my fur babies are my priority. So if I'm not going to get the other stuff done that I would, you know, told myself I was going to get done, that's okay. And like that's my self-care and like making sure that I have the energy to fill them up and like take care of them, um, while still taking care of myself. And that's just been and like in the midst of all this, I got some silly rash that I still don't know where it came from, but it's gone now. But it was driving me bonkers for a week. It was so itchy. So like all this stuff was happening while I'm working on this self-care. And I think like a lot of that has been just to like similarly like let go of the things that do not need to be held right now. And like I get to choose. Like going back to Vicky, you're like thought, what do I have control over? I have control over quite a bit. And it's like, do I, if I let myself have that control, or if I, live in the programming that continually comes back up. So it's been kind of wild to be like, to have such sick pups, but be like, I think we're feeling okay. We're doing okay. Yeah.
It seems like wanting
Yeah.
pups is kind of a teacher for you as well.
He is. The other one might when she's older. But
She's a teenager.
Watson's a gentle soul. Old man. Yeah. 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 I was like reflecting on like where we learned self-care from. Even like in like the garden and stuff. Like there's so many lessons in self-care we can learn if we just look for it instead of just sometimes we're too focused inward even. Like sometimes you need to like take in
Great.
what's around you to receive. Yeah.
To Teresa's question earlier, do we make things harder? Of course we do.
Yeah.
Of course.
Mhm.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things about being in Ireland is that when the sun comes out, the Irish drop everything and go outside, like everything. Um, it's so it's just because the sun is shining, you don't know when that's going to happen again. So, and it's something that I've taken up with great pleasure. I'm like, oh, well, sun's shining. Sorry, work.
I love that.
Got to go out.
Yes.
Being in Texas, I'd be wholly unproductive if
Entirely.
in the sunshine. It's awesome.
Mm. Wow. I love all the curiosity about how all the different places and ways that self-care shows up for us and all of our different teachers. Yeah, from the people that we interact with to the animals to what we observe out in the world.
This has been my favorite class so far.
It's a whole new level, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. But that's you guys. I'll say it again, and you can receive it or not, but you guys have leveled up in like such a tremendous way. It's just time. Yeah. Yeah. That evolutionary path. It's pretty awesome. What a way to live. Well, we definitely missed Anne and Cindy. I'm glad Anne got a chance to share before she signed off. Next week is channeling after this morning or earlier. That's going to be so interesting to see what shows up. Um, and then we move on to the oars, which will be fascinating. The manifestation, the co-creation with the universe. It'll be fun. And I will continue to share the worksheets. So thank you for the feedback, Vicki.
I found them very helpful.
One nugget I just want to leave with because this came up in my one-on-one with Teresa. Has anyone ever asked their rash what they're here for?
Never. Mm-mm.
That was Teresa's first thing when she's like, "Have you talked to your rash?" It's like, "Oh, no." So
Did
I don't know.
did
It
you?
didn't go away. I tried to, but didn't get many answers.
You can't just leave that there like that.
It did
You
start
will-
going away, so I don't know.
Huh.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think everything has an energetic component. And if we can take the energy of that and put it in a ball in front of us and have a conversation with it.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Have you guys ever tried that? It could
No.
be anything.
No.
I've never talked to a rash before. I can confirm, but I've never done that.
You know, now I have a tool for the next time one comes up.
There you go. Stick that on your worksheet, Teresa. Get that on the
Yep.
worksheet.
You don't
Get
want to make a
curious.
rash decision. Yeah.
Oh, not
Right?
I tried
Clever.
not to, but I just nature.
too easy.
That's so funny.
Just had to share that. That was like when I have that in my notes for my one-on-one, and that's like the first thing. Ask Rash, what are you here for?
It's hilarious.
I'm glad you shared.
Oh.
I'll stick that in my toolbox next to the band-aids and the ointment.
You know, you can actually use those energetically. When I do energy work on people, I'll put band-aids or I'll sew things or I'll put a salve.
Uh-huh.
Okay, now we're just getting weird.
I need a full body massage. Like that. I don't know how you whip that up, but Tamara needs some time off. Like if you could energetically weave that in there somewhere.
Right.
We're counting on you.
Yeah. My team keeps saying, when are you going on holidays? Great question.
All right.
So good.
I love you guys. This has just been incredible. I'm so thrilled with how everything's going. I agree, this is just pure magic. So thank you for showing up, for being vulnerable, for working, not even working, just stepping into every possibility that shows up for you, for your courage.
Thank you, Teresa. Truly, you've created such an incredible vessel for all of us here in Alchemy.
I love it. It's amazing. All right.
Mm.
I love you guys.
Peace, friends.
Love you.
Love you.
Bye.
Peace. Bye. Hi.
Hi, girl. Are you shutting everything off, the recording?
Gotta do all that. I'm hitting all the buttons.